A local man received commutation from President Trump before he left office. Corvain Cooper was serving a life sentence after getting a third strike for selling marijuana.
Tell me who wanna run with us. Mobbing back to back in them Bentley trucks. Blowing on that saucy to set me tight. I used to take that package, I would wrap it and send it up. Now I put money on your books until the day that you sent it up. One nigga Corvain said he living life after life.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Tons Talk, a 40 Tons brand podcast. I'm Anthony, the Chief Operations Officer and founder of 40 Tons. My partners, L'Oreal and Corvain, are not here with us today, but they're here in spirit. And today I got two amazing guests, Miss Jill and Miss Christina from Detroit. These ladies are experts in marketing and sales, and they bridge the gap between both of those fields and kind of help companies successfully launch and scale their brands. Is that correct?
Definitely.
It is.
100%.
Yeah, so we're happy to have them here today. This episode is brought to you by Hemper. Hemper is an e-commerce cannabis smoking accessories company, and you can get tons of things on their website, from the 40 Tons bongs that'll be out there in about Q2 of next year, from keepers to cones to the whole 9 yards. Anything that you need smoking related, Hemper is the one to go and get your stuff from. And they also do wholesale, so if you're doing big units, you can also reach out to them and let them know about 40 Tons, and you get special 40 Tons distribution pricing. In addition, I want to give love and respect to Purple Banter. They are our co-producers of this show. You can find them at Purple Banter, as well as Respect My Region. Shout out my guys Mitch and Joey over at Respect My Region, as well as Hayes at Hayes TV Network, that you can download the Hayes TV Network app on most smart TVs and actually watch the podcast from there. And so, without further ado, let's get right into the show.
Let's do it.
So, man, ladies, tell us about, how you guys got started, what you guys do, and how you got to California.
Okay, definitely. So I'll start. So we actually originally from Michigan. We both went to Michigan State.
Yep.
Okay, y'all some
And
Spartans?
Some Spartans.
My
So
cousin
green,
went to
go white.
went there. Yep, green and white. Yep, okay.
But
That's in Lansing, right?
yeah, it's in East Lansing.
East Lansing, okay.
But we've always been stoners. Well, I've always been a stoner. I think you was kind of a stoner when I first met you too.
I was then I got more and more into it, obviously.
So she got you into it,
Because
kind
of
of
me.
thing. Okay.
Yeah, till this day, I still don't know how to roll. That's a fun fact.
It's
about me.
funny you
That's
say
crazy.
that, because on the last episode with Mike from Kranja, he was talking about how, was it him or someone didn't know how to roll? And I was like, I don't know how to roll either.
What?
Seriously?
Good, at least. I use the machines.
I use
Those are good.
cones.
You know what I mean? Yeah, use a cone or a machine, what I
Cone
mean?
all day.
Right. Okay. So you guys are stoners, but you were after Christina. Christina's been smoking for how long?
I would say I probably started smoking. I had to have been 15.
Okay.
15. I ain't gonna say how old I am now. It's
Yeah.
I'll say it. How old am I? 31?
Yep.
I'm 31. So that's 16 years. I don't think I've ever taken a break. I think
Wow.
not that long of a break that I could say a whole year or anything off.
It's
But
okay. It's medicine.
It is. It's my best friend. When I hear those songs that say weed's always there for you. Who was always there for you? I'm like, weed.
Right.
Cannabis.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's definitely
cannabis,
medicine,
yeah.
too.
So y'all come from the D. Okay, what we talking? We talking Hamtramck. We talking Troy. We
Oh my
talking
God.
Livonia. We talking Southfield. We talking Farmington Hills. We talking Woodard, 8 Mile. What we talking about when we talking about
Oh.
He know his cities. he
Detroit.
knows the areas.
Have you been?
I done
We got a lot of friends.
I done got down in
Okay.
Detroit before.
Well, me particularly, I'm from Southfield, Michigan.
Southfield, okay.
Yes,
see?
yes. Went to school in Detroit, and Michigan State as well.
Okay, how about you?
Yes, I am originally from the Metro Detroit area.
For those that don't know, what part of Detroit is that? What?
So it's in the suburbs. It's Romulus, but
Okay,
I ended up
Romulus.
moving to the city to the east side. So
That's
I still rep
Southwest,
the east side.
So Southwest is kind of where Romulus is?
The Romulus is the
Or more
airport.
west?
If you fly into
Southwest.
Maybe, yeah. If you fly into Detroit, you're in Romulus. So everyone who's ever flown into Detroit has
Yes.
also been in Romulus.
I'll say that's like the southwest part of the city.
Okay.
Whereas Southfield is more like north center, northwest-ish, right? Because it's Farmington Hills, West
Northwestern.
Bloomfield, Southfield,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, little
Something
13
like
mile.
that. Yeah. I mean, I specialize in
12
cannabis, not
Geography?
directions, not geography. So
No, I just want to let y'all know. I done been a few places in the D, man. I love the D. In fact, Canacon is in the D. I'm also, partners in a company called Grow XAI and Homegrown Pros. That's out of Detroit.
That's
And
awesome.
so I'm very familiar with Detroit. I got an aunt that lives in Farmington Hills.
Yeah.
Moved to Southfield when she first came there.
I can tell. I can
from
tell
LA.
you're familiar.
Yeah.
And but Detroit always had that vibe that like if you go to any East Coast city other than New York, everything has a New York vibe. Detroit has a LA vibe
Kind of.
and like a West Coast swag.
Yeah.
Right? Would you agree or
It's-
disagree?
yeah.
Like it
I was just talking about that with someone. Like, there's definitely some type of a connection there. Even the way that we speak, it reminds
up,
me
though?
of like Bay, like
Okay.
sometimes like Bay Area. I feel like there's a connection there somehow.
That's dope, man. Yeah, Detroit's cool. The only thing I don't like about Detroit is the weather, man. It's too cold out there.
Yeah, it's too cold. It's too cold to grow weed too. I
Yeah.
remember when I was in college, I used to smoke the worst weed. It used to be the most trash weed.
He was getting them Reggies
Yeah.
sent. They was
I
sending
used
them
to
Reggies to Detroit.
I
They
used to
were.
smoke hella Swishers, Swisher Sweets, no flavor though. Like I had to stop with the flavor. And
Yeah.
then when I moved, I remember when I moved to LA. So we originally moved here.
Yeah, tell us about that. So you're in the D, but now you come to LA. When did this happen?
Well, we was in college. We was in East Lansing. We graduated, and we knew we both have a passion for videography and film production.
Okay.
And so we
Me
were
too.
like, where's the best place to go for that when you're about to graduate? And it's like Hollywood. So we're like,
Exactly.
we're moving to Hollywood. Let's go. So we moved here, and I remember when I first moved here, because like I said, I was already a stoner. I already knew I was gonna I figured that I was gonna find weed, but it wasn't hard. Like there was literally at that time, it was still a dispensary, but like a collective or a clinic. There was literally one on literally every corner. There was like 3 on every corner.
What city was this?
This was every city in the Los
I mean,
Angeles.
but when you came to LA, where?
I first lived in Van Nuys.
Yeah.
Van
The
Nuys, shout out Van
valley.
Nuys.
Deep in the valley.
A18.
Deep in the valley.
LA.
I love the Valley.
Yeah.
A18. I'm
but-
A18.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah. So
313 to 818.
3-1. Yep. I'm originally from North Hollywood. Actually,
Okay.
I'm originally from Canoga Park, but I moved to North Hollywood when I was an early teenager. And so I lived in Van Nuys too.
Mhm.
My very first apartment. Shout out L'Oreal, our CEO of 40 Tons. Her and I moved into our first apartment in Van Nuys in the hood, in SA hood, deep.
Oh.
What part of
I
Van
think
Nuys
we was
was
there
y'all in?
too.
We were at the same place.
We
We
were
was
right
on Kester,
by
Kester and Van Owen.
We were right by
Roscoe.
Panorama City.
Oh, you was a deep in
That's
Van
what I'm
Nuys.
saying. People would tell us, they'll be like,
Roscoe.
That's
They'd
Panorama
be like,
City.
By
okay.
the plant, by the beer plants, by the
Budweiser.
By the
Yeah,
dealership.
by Budweiser.
Well, Anheuser-Busch.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's where we were.
That's
yeah.
Ventura, I wish. That's Roscoe and Sepulveda.
Yep.
9 years ago today.
Whew.
I
Today?
came here today.
Oh,
January 14th.
congratulations.
Thank
Okay,
you.
yeah. It's an anniversary. We celebrating an anniversary on Tons Talk.
Caliversary.
Caliversary. Okay, I like
Mhm.
that. So 9 years ago, you guys take the leap. Man, we getting out of East Lansing. We going to Cali. We got dreams to be in Hollywood or video. Like, was in front of the camera, behind the camera.
So Jill was like more in front of the camera, and I
Yeah.
would do behind the camera. So I'm really, really good at video editing. I was
Mhm.
really good at shooting, directing.
Yes.
We both used to
Okay.
write.
Shout out
Um,
Just Bad Productions. That's like our production company.
Just
Yeah,
bad.
so we did a lot of
Mhm.
stuff. Like we shot movies, like short films. We actually shot a short film called Trailblazers, and that was
Where can we see that at?
It's like on YouTube.
It's on YouTube
Yeah.
right now. Mhm.
So that was basically it was
Drop
kinda
that clip,
like
LJ. It's still up, right?
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's a short film about successful people who smoke weed.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Mhm.
Functional
Fusing
stoners.
together.
Functional
Fusing
stoners.
together all of our passions, pretty much. Like
Okay.
we've always been like advocates for weed, and we always hated like the stigma of like laziness, that if you smoke you're not going to get anything done, or it's only for like super creatives, like, you know what I mean? But
We used to always we felt like when we smoked, it gave us energy.
It gave us energy. It made us like tap in. Like we were so tapped in. We would get we call ourselves idea bots.
Idea bots.
Come up with ideas for so many different like catchy, crazy, like fun, like out of this world like things. Sketches, skits, like
all
jokes.
of it. Yeah, that's tight, man. You know, a lot of people have, you know, this stigma with the plant and they don't realize, and it's folks like you guys that are like destigmatizing that, because you don't have to be this, you know, crazy stoner, surfs up, you know, let's just go get wasted. That's not what weed is about. I mean, that's a subculture within the cannabis industry, but you know, there's medicine, there's using it for creativity, there's using it for energy, there's all these benefits, both emotional and functional, you know, and physical, that cannabis has. And so you ladies kind of tapped into that early.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest parts of cannabis for me is the fact that it's also a career. So cannabis was the first industry that I've ever had unlimited PTO, full-time job, benefits. I like was straight out of college. So like I had part-time jobs. I had landed. So I did have I worked, let me think. I think I ended up, so I graduated in June. Yeah. And Jill graduated in December. So for 6 months I worked full-time at a credit union, but I like rolled from a part-time job to a full-time job. And then when I moved to California, I was like, okay, well, I've already have this credit union experience. I'm going to work at another credit union. So I thought I was so sweet. Like I had an interview like the second day that I got like to California for a credit union. I killed the interview. I got the job, full-time job. It was like, at that time, it was like $20 an hour, full-time, plus overtime. It was like a really good job because this was like 10 years ago. And I just out of college.
And they test you.
How you know?
Because I could feel it.
Yes. So I did my drug test. And for some reason, my results was delayed. Like they let me work a whole week before they ultimately called me and was like, you tested positive for marijuana. And I was just like, I had literally just got here, so I hadn't had a chance to get my like medical card. I didn't really know the ropes. The crazy part about it is, I'm trying to think, I'm pretty sure I tried to drink one of those things.
Did you put on your application that you didn't do that? So then they could get you for lying on your application? Or was it just an automatic disqualification because you tested positive?
So what happened, it definitely wasn't a lie thing. What happened was I went down, somebody called me on the phone, like, or they made me talk to somebody. They made me talk to like somebody, like, because I guess it's because it's your medical record. So when you do a drug test, they can't reveal to the employer which drug you test positive for. They can only just say that you tested positive.
So you could be a heroin addict and
they don't know. So the guy called me and had to talk to me directly. And he was like, you tested positive for this. And I was like, oh, well, it's prescribed by a doctor. And he was like, oh, well, do you have documentation? And I didn't. And then I was just like, I had to take the L. So I took the L or whatever. But with that being said,
their
like,
loss.
It was. It actually helped me. Like, it redirected me into the right way that I was supposed to go, because after that, I ended up like getting a part-time job, which ultimately led me to have the ability to do like intern and do like a lot of stuff on sets. So I worked for a lot of music video sets. I taught myself how to use like Adobe After Effects. I did a lot of motion graphics, editing. We did a lot of projects together. So we shot a lot of stuff. Like I was mentioning before, like we've shot weddings. We've done a lot of cannabis content. We actually ended up creating our own apparel and accessories line.
Oh, dope. What's that called?
It was called Get Me Faded.
Get Me Faded. Okay. And is it still around or is that no longer?
So not really. Like we still have, we want to revive it ultimately, but like e-commerce is difficult. Like you have to really keep up with your content. You have to really keep up with, you probably already know. That's why we're shooting content right now. Like you have to keep that engagement.
Yeah.
And us like being pulled, like that's a big thing too. I'm glad that we're kind of talking about this, because that's one thing that a big lesson for us that we learned is like we put so much energy into other people's businesses. So
say that again.
Yeah, well, we've worked with a lot of other startup cannabis companies. We've done a lot of consulting work, and that's another big lesson I would say. Like, although like I'm in this cannabis career, like I just feel like when I got here, I just was really like money motivated. It had to be like all about money. Like that's why I'm in sales right now. But
we'll get to that.
Yeah, but like at the end of the day, like if you know, like you have to, I feel like invest that same energy into yourself. Like I know it's hard when like you need the money, but like when you're younger and you don't need as much,
That's where you learn. No,
Yeah.
this is what I want our viewers to hear. Like, at the end of the day, you had to put in the work, right? So the fact that you have all these skills, the fact that you guys went through all these ups and downs with your businesses and learning the game and doing that, what that's doing is preparing you now for the next stage of your life. So now when you guys do get ready to get back into the game, full entrepreneurship,
Exactly.
you will have that knowledge. And that's what a lot of people do is they skip that knowledge. And so you guys didn't do that. You ladies didn't do that. You actually did all the different things that, even though you were building someone else, you were building someone else at that time, but the one thing that they can't take away from you is the knowledge you got.
Yeah.
And so that's important, is that, you don't read chapter 1 and then you read chapter 20. You got to read all the way through. You know what I mean? To get to the end. So tell us what that journey's been like for you guys over the last 9 years, as you got into the cannabis space.
I want you to start with about how we were repping brands in college.
Okay, yeah. So it really all started in college, like with the marketing aspect of it. So
yeah,
somehow like I got into these like these marketing gigs, and they would pay like the best money. They would be like temporary, like maybe like a 3-month program on a college campus through like Xfinity.
This is like 07, 08, 09?
Yep, it was.
No, this is like after that. Like, you're trying to age us.
10, 11, 12.
Yeah, there we go.
Right.
There we go. 10,
okay,
11,
no,
12.
the reason why I'm asking not to age y'all is because I'm trying to figure out.
kidding.
I'm trying to figure out what the music scene and industry was like at that time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So if you guys are, I'm assuming we're in the know, and you guys were, popular, and you're repping brands, and you're repping, there's a crossover to hip hop, and so that whole vibe. I'm just thinking that era, that 2010, that was like. That Kendrick Lamar era, kind of.
Yeah, it was like Young Drake.
Young Drake,
exactly.
It was like Waka Flocka.
Waka Flocka.
It was all, it was.
Okay, so you're in that realm. You're representing brands.
Yeah, so it would be like college like brands, like targeting like housing people who are moving off campus. They need cable.
But no, it's actually interesting because we also did
like CenturyLink, or like a cable company.
Like, yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like she's saying
Xfinity. That's one of them.
That's crazy.
We were like repping. We were trying to get people to like get our cable, and we were giving them free moving boxes.
Yo,
that's what I remember about it. It was a whole marketing plan scheme. Like all the schools on the East Coast were getting it, or like whatever.
What was y'all major?
We changed major. I changed majors a couple times, but I was in marketing at
business.
one point.
Okay, so business
But
admin.
I graduated with human development and family studies.
Oh, complete change.
Yeah,
change.
mine was media arts and technology.
Okay, so that's not business, but that's more like, in my college it was called urban affairs, or like liberal arts. Okay, so in the business world, right? Were you guys ever a part of a sorority?
No, we were not.
Mm-mm.
We were our own sorority.
We were our own, yeah. We
did
like video blogs on campus. We had like our own show at one point. We helped produce another show, a reality show on campus.
So ironically, while you were in college, I was in college. So I was in college from 2009 to 2013.
Okay,
I went back to school late. I'm in my early 40s. You know what I'm saying? But I always
shout out to you for going back.
Thank you.
Doing what you needed to do, and
I appreciate that. I took an unconventional path to my education and got a PhD first in the streets and the system. Then I went back to school and got my bachelor's and then my master's. Yeah. So, but to talk about Xfinity and the cable companies and whatnot. So here's the game. If you really want to like take over college, I was in I majored in business marketing too. And I was in all the business fraternities. I was in student government. I was in anything business related. And what happens is brands want to penetrate campuses and don't know how to get to the students. So they come to the students, like they did you, to try to get to the campus. But how does cable sell to a 19-year-old, right? Like, it's like, how do you do that, right? So it's unconventional ways that you have to do marketing. And so what reminded me was, so I was a part of this fraternity called Alpha Kappa Psi. It's a male and female fraternity. So it's male and females both together, whereas usually a fraternity's male, sororities females.
That's different.
Right.
And so I always used to say, well, AK Psi, we're the best of the best. So if you want like access to the business people, you got to come to the business college within the college. But then if you want the cream of the crop, you come to AK Psi. That's what I was trying to brand AK Psi as. So when I went to, and forgive me, this is a little long-winded, but I want to give you history. So we have this fraternity, and I don't want to have to like fundraise in the quad selling cookies or donuts where 30 of us are out there for 5 hours and we raise $122. I want to go get a check cut. And then we don't have to fundraise for the rest of the semester, and we could actually take that money and do things like service events, professional events, business events, boom, boom, boom. So before I came, everybody was thinking on that level of like, let's do, selling pizza in the, it was a waste of time.
Yeah.
So I was like, who can we go to give us a check? So I'm like, well, if we're the best of the best, right? We're the cream of the crop because we're an AK Psi, we're a business fraternity, we're the, why don't we go to these brands and companies out there that want to get access to us on campus? So Target was the first one. And Target wrote us one of the biggest checks that they had ever cut at the time to a student organization. But the second one that I was going after was CenturyLink, which was like what y'all. And I go into this meeting with the vice president of sales and the director of marketing for this billion-dollar company as a student. But they don't know who I am. They don't know that I'm Ant, the entrepreneur, going hard in the tank. They look at me like I'm just some student organization begging, for some bread. And I went into there, and I'll never forget it. I was in this, like, I'll say at least $100,000 to $200,000 conference room. It was huge, one of those big tables. I mean, it's $1 billion company like Xfinity.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And the two of them are sitting down, and it's just me. And I tell them, you don't mind if I stand, do you? Because I'm psychologically hitting them with sales because I want to look down on them. Right? They're looking up, I'm looking down. It says
they
something.
didn't even know what was about to hit them.
All of that. And I ended up pitching them, and the whole thing was they didn't know how to get to the kids on campus.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And so like
you
it
were
reminded
a valuable gatekeeper.
A gatekeeper, right? And I'm coming at them like, I don't want no $100. Give us 10, 20 bands type thing. Like,
you have a mission.
This is what it is. And so I practiced on all these brands. So anyway, sorry to go off topic and tell that long-winded story, but it reminded me because brands want to get on campuses and they don't know how. So
yeah, no, but that's super important.
You did that.
Because like that correlates directly with cannabis, and people don't realize that like these big companies have these marketing budgets, and that's how they become billion-dollar companies. But we have brands out here that doesn't even have a marketing department. Like, you miss a huge mark when you don't create a budget for marketing. Like, that's one big thing that like I notice about some small brands. Like, you always want to cut corners, right? Because you're a small, you're a small
we have
brand.
to. So we have to cut corners, right?
Yeah.
We don't have a marketing budget. So let's say, we're spending money either on ops or inventory. What are some ways that we can, allocate some funds towards marketing? Or maybe let me say, what are some ways that we can market that may not be super expensive that we can compete with the big billion-dollar companies?
Listen, I was just talking about this, but something that a lot of people aren't thinking about right now, especially like in cannabis, is like live events and other things like podcasts that they could be supporting. That's pretty much like what I'm trying to convey.
Live events are it.
Yeah, live events, curated special events. We've been seeing like a lot of like infused dinners out there. Comedy shows are another thing.
I think the best way to think
we have a
about
comedy
it,
show here
pop-up
tonight.
shops.
Yeah.
Pop-up shops is what we saw a lot of success with our personal brand. We would just go to like music events.
Yeah, tell us about like how you built your brand or brands and what you've done for others as it relates to, this cannabis industry and like some of the ways that you saw success.
That's the main thing. Like, we totally noticed. So I really think that digital marketing is an easy way where you can find inexpensive things to do because it's online. There's a lot of ways that you can reach a lot of customers online or through digital. However, the in-person, face-to-face, that's where we saw the most success within our own business. And that's when we realized like it's about personality. It's about who you are. It's about connecting with people. And like, we've always done that, like repping brands. Like, we've always been a brand ambassador. We've always been face to face with the customer. Yeah, like we're going and we've always had to take feedback and go back and talk to people. So we just understand like what that process is like when you have to like persuade someone or educate someone. Like when I first started in cannabis, I worked in a dispensary. I worked events like High Times. But I also started at a vape company when vape was just becoming a thing. So I have a lot of experience with educating people on like I had to educate everyone on the vape.
That's actually a good point, like bringing up education and just teaching people about from what they're consuming to how to consume it.
Absolutely. And imagine this, like at that time, like with flower, getting someone to say, smoke this device, you don't even know what's in it. People weren't educated on what oil was in it. People didn't even really realize like, that's cannabis oil.
Yeah.
So I had to convince you to not buy weed that everyone knows about, that everyone has known about for 20s and hundreds of years. And get you to try this vape. Now vape is all super popular, but at that time it was really a learning experience for me. And it really like taught me like, okay, like the number one thing that you have to do is like talk to people. You have to talk to people. Like I see all the time, I was a brand ambassador forever. I would sit in the store and like people weren't getting sales because they weren't having conversations with people. I would sit there and I would just talk to a person. Like, I'm like, oh, do you like the vape? They're like, no, I would never vape. I'm like, oh, okay, well, cool shoes. And they're like, your shoes are cool. And then we'll talk and then they'll be like, well, what's this vape you got? And I'm like, let's talk about it. So like, that's key.
Yeah, you got some really fly shoes on too right now.
Thank you. That's true story.
we need the shoe cam. But it's definitely about creating a experience for a customer.
Come get that shoe cam real quick. Just grab it. But go ahead, keep talking.
It's about creating an experience for whoever, is going to be buying the brand. You know what I mean? So me and Chrissy, we pretty much learned at like a very like young age on college campus, like with those marketing brands that we would do the gigs for, that like marketing was king, and that access to like college campuses was king as well. And we got to see like firsthand how the marketing teams that we were executing the events for were like putting together these like big experiences, you know what I mean? For kids, it was fun. I would always be a part of events that had like some type of a giveaway, some type of a perk, some type of a like data capture. We got to see the game, honestly, like within marketing before we even got to cannabis, before we got to California. And that was a big way of how we got our way. How we got money in California is because like the same marketing agencies that we had in Michigan, they were doing events out here.
Fire.
And you get the same connections.
Would you agree that events are a way for you to build culture?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you can build culture through events. Like when you think about culture, what drives culture? It's music, it's cannabis, it's drugs, or
style.
It's cannabis, it's style.
It's style.
It's, art.
But for me, like the major thing about events when it comes to like cannabis and brands is you need to make your events meaningful.
Go ahead, just keep going. You're good.
If you're having an event, okay, if you're a cannabis brand and you're like, ooh, this sounds great, I want to do an event. First, look at where the most of your sales are. Make sure you're doing your event within that zip code or in that area where most of your sales are coming from. I know tons of brands who are like, yeah, I threw this dope event, but I'm not seeing a return on my like investment. And it's like, well, all your sales were from this all the way in NorCal and you threw your event in SoCal, or all your sales were over here, you threw your event over here. So you just have to always think like, okay, what's the best way to reach my my target audience, or the best way to reach people who are already buying my stuff? Because how Jill keeps bringing up the reason why like the whole college campus thing was like a super hit, that's similar to like cannabis consumers, because you can't advertise like on TV to cannabis consumers. Like, how do you advertise to cannabis? It's like so many laws against advertising for cannabis. Mm-hmm. So the only way to do it is to go into dispensaries.
In person. Yeah.
That's the only way.
In person and events, right?
Yes.
Things like this, right?
So they're going to be attending.
I love events. I've been doing events for 20 years. I've done probably 300-400 events in my life, like real solid events. And I think that's the best way, because that's how you get data capture. It's how you build the culture. It's how they see everything. They touch, they feel, they can feel and touch the brand. So what are some events that you guys frequent out here in the cannabis industry, and what events would you say are the ones that brands should go to?
I go to a lot of events at the Green Street building.
Oh yeah, shout out Green Street.
Yeah, they have an awesome setup over there. They also like expose tons of different brands to their consumers directly. I get event. They do events there weekly.
I was just there actually
Mhm.
last week for, who was the event? It was the homie that used to work at on Crenshaw. What's Kika spot? Well,
Okay.
Gorilla RX.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the homie that used to work at Gorilla X had an event there, and it was pretty dope. And then I did Can of Christmas there. Cliff.
Yes.
I can't remember my homeboy's name. Cliff, man. Shout out Cliff. Cliff. You were at that event?
I just talked to him the other day. He was telling me about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're supposed to get something in the works together.
Yeah. So Cliff had a really good event there. I did a Can of Christmas there, which was an event that we did to raise awareness for like our mission and what we do, and help the cannabis prisoners' kids get some Christmas presents. And I'm actually working with Green Street. Hopefully, I've got a big meeting with them coming up to hopefully do something bigger with Green Street.
Yes.
So I think it's going to be really dope. We got some really cool installation ideas that we want to do.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if you know, but 40 tons, we have a big 20 by 20 prison cell that we bring out to conventions, and so all the regular booths, ours is like this big prison cell with like a toilet and the whole
I saw that
nine.
on your
That's
page.
crazy.
Yeah.
No, I did not know that. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, like even case in point like this,
I
this
see,
is a
yeah.
good way to, you put the weed in the jail, and like that's a display at a retail.
That's
Yeah.
impactful, honestly. That's
things
really
like that, because
impactful.
it says something without even
It
saying
does.
it.
It
does.
And
And
so
the cell is an experience in itself. Going into a cell, like a lot of
Yeah.
these people who are in the industry, they're not even
right.
they haven't been arrested. The people who are operating businesses haven't, been arrested for a weed related crime. And they don't really understand like the risk that people were taking. Still taking today, but really we're taking like back in the day before things got legal in California, that is.
So allegedly in East Lansing, was there any some side hustling going on in East Lansing? It's past the statute, so it don't matter no more. It's a 5-year statute.
So
you know.
funny story. Me and Joe actually had got like busted this one time trying to smoke weed on campus.
Yeah.
Bad idea. I don't know why, because like everyone, the reason why we thought maybe it would be cool, first of all, just because you're like young and dumb, but also
State that
because also because first, like all these kids, they were like smoking hella cigarettes over there.
Mhm.
It was like the cigarette smoke area corner.
It was,
and
but
no
as
one ever
soon
busted
as-
anyone smoking cigarettes.
Right.
But as soon as
So
we
let's smoke weed.
right, as soon as our potheads came out there,
the
they
police
rolled
rolled
up
up on us. Like
On campus?
they rolled
Yes.
up on us with lights, sirens, everything. Yeah. We were like sitting on like back stairs. It was like hay. It was like piles of hay back there. I don't know where we were. It was some type of
it was like a
weird-
back door to like one of the dorms.
Yeah, okay.
Y'all lived in the dorms?
Yeah, we stayed in
Mhm.
the dorms on campus for 2 years.
Yeah, that's why we couldn't go off campus and smoke.
Right.
We were like trying
That's
to
why
find
we
our
were
way,
like,
trying
well,
to find a low key cut.
because we used to smoke out, like we'll hotbox cars, because like some older kids on campus would have cars, so we
Mhm.
would like, we're gonna go to your car and smoke. But I don't know, that day like our friends convinced us, we were with these other people,
Yeah.
and they had convinced us. They were like, no, we smoke over here all the time, and we were like,
Uh-oh.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't like equate into like an arrest or anything, did it?
It actually didn't. No.
Okay, thank goodness.
They let us go.
I don't know. Somebody got arrested, but we
Somebody
didn't.
did.
But they were like
we got
questioning
out of
us.
it.
And this was the time when we were doing a lot. We were doing a lot of video content, and like Jill was like recording her questioning.
Yeah.
By the
I'm a
police.
big documenter. Like I have to document everything and like
That's dope.
take
Yeah.
footage of everything.
That's a tactic that brands need,
yeah.
is documenting everything and
is.
capturing that stuff. And if you don't capture it, you don't have it. You know
Did
what
it
I mean? So
happen?
sometimes you
Mhm.
can't recreate things, so it's good if you have it. It's
Yeah.
better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So
Exactly.
I'm
So
big
true.
on documenting. I've done documentaries, commercials. I own a video production company that I've had for years that I do as well before cannabis.
Mhm.
So I'm big into video production. So all right, so we get from East Lansing, we're in Cali, we're moving, we're shaking, we're figuring out our ways. I'm assuming you moved from Van Nuys to a new place now?
To North Hollywood.
Okay, so now you're in NoHo. Are you in like NoHo or are you in North Hollywood?
We were
there's
right
a-
on the
We were in
border.
North Hollywood.
We were on
'Cause you know
Lincolnshire.
Okay, yeah. I used to call it Lanker Scum. But that's if you go like, more down.
Right. We were right. We were like
Magnolia,
a little
Burbank?
bit down. What was our cross street? It was
Lincolnshire
Lincolnshire
and
Burbank?
It was like right past
Where the
NoHo
Denny's is?
area.
Van
Oh,
Nuys?
that-
No, was it Van? No.
That's kind of hood right there.
I remember our address.
Vic-
It's the
Victory?
address was
I'll tell you what it is.
7727 Lancashire.
Oh, you were at, yes, 7727. You were at Sherman Way.
Sherman Way.
Sherman Way.
I know my geography. They call me Mr. Thomas Guide. I know.
Oh.
Yeah. So
That
Yeah,
place.
that's a big inside joke. So
It's it. Yeah.
that's actually rocking and rolling over there back in the day. It's down
That's
the
what we
street.
heard,
It's down the
yeah.
street from
Yeah.
Home Depot.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, your
It
Home
is.
Depot's right there.
Mhm.
Yeah, and you probably were in the flight path too, with Burbank Airport.
Mm,
Do you remember
Can't
airplanes
remember.
flying over?
I'm sure there were. There was a
Yeah,
lot of
there
noise.
It was lots of noise.
So, yeah, some self. You guys making the noise, you know what I'm saying? Throwing parties, doing y'all thing, bringing noise to the neighborhood.
we
No, we
had
had a
like a
noisy-
420 party.
We had a noisy apartment complex.
I bet. I know that area. I grew up not too far from there on Van Owen and Laurel Canyon.
Okay.
So closer to Van Owen, but between Van Owen and Sherman Way,
Yeah.
off of Laurel Canyon, which is a couple streets up. So, okay, so you get there. Now, you work for HERBL now, right?
No. We worked at a dispensary.
Ah, okay. So before HERBL, what dispensary was that?
We worked at HHC.
HHC.
Is that HAC still around?
I think so.
Yeah,
I
okay.
think so that was our first dispensary, and
You guys were bud tenders?
yeah, we were
Mhm.
bud tenders.
We also did content creation for them too.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little known fact.
Oh, y'all came as a team? Like a work?
Yeah,
Or who got the job first?
So I started working there first,
Yeah.
and then I brought Jill on board. But yeah, it was crazy because I learned so much there. Like,
I was gonna ask, does working as a bud tender teach you how to be a better business person?
It absolutely helps.
so the I feel so like lucky to have moved to California right before things went recreational because it was that experience. Now, I mean, I haven't been a bud tender since it's been recreational, so I don't know. But like the touching flower and just that experience when you were being able to be a lot more closer to the product while you were selling it was just, I learned so much. Now it's like things are
Yeah.
packaged. You don't know what you're selling. You're just
Can't
reading a
smell,
package.
Yeah.
Ah, it was the
Um,
deli style when you first started.
Oh yeah, for
Oh,
sure.
That and also being a brand ambassador back then was gold. You could give live samples in person during during an event.
Like, you
During
could take a dab. You can hit this
take
vape.
a dab. You can hit the vape. You can try out the edible.
You can eat this 100 milligram edible and like,
You could
and
drink
good
this
luck.
drink. It was so great, and people could really try it, and you could really like have honest conversations with people. You would really have to give the disclaimer about like edibles and everything like
Yeah.
that, but
And that's because back then that shit was strong.
it was so strong. It was
Yeah.
and I worked for like a very prominent company, Cushy Punch, and they had
they shit
the
is
potent.
fire.
They had the potent gummies,
Yeah.
so we could give those out to people. Can you imagine? 25 milligram samples
back
cut
then.
into very small microdose squares.
Yeah, right. Microdose my butt. That was
They were still
microdose.
strong.
Those are macro doses.
No, they
man.
were.
They were still. They were.
They were just
like,
small in the gummy
they-
size, but they
did
were.
the job.
and back in the day, like people love that. Like if you buy something that says 20 milligrams and you really get 50, I'm buying this every time. Now it's illegal.
Exactly, and that's why like the OG customers nowadays, they're like, you don't have anything for this promo. Like I'm not getting anything. Like
They
I
hate
used
it
to
here.
get actual product. Now it's just like 20% off, or now it's just like you give me a keychain, you give me a lanyard.
And taxes is like 30-35%. So
Yeah.
you're not even getting, if I get 20 or 25% off, I'm still paying taxes.
Man, speaking of that, I want to take a couple seconds out to pay our bills and give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Hemper. Speaking of things that you got to give away now, these are the things that we give away right now, which is, really cool things. This is our little keeper. You know what I mean? You put the eighth of weed in there, you kind of grind it up, boom. And then whatever's left that you don't roll up, you put in there and boom. And so like this is stuff that we have to do now as a brand because we have to compete. But shout out Hemper, e-commerce, one of the biggest e-commerce brands for smoking accessories and smoking products in the nation. So we want to appreciate them and thank them. And we got a custom bong coming out. I'll make sure I get you guys one of those when they drop. Are you guys dabbers?
I love bongs.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
like
dab
smoking
here
out
and
of
there.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're more flower.
Definitely more flour for sure, but
The dab is a little bit too strong for my lungs.
Okay.
I do like a good clean dab. You
I
know,
do too.
every
They
here
taste
and
so
there.
good. I just
Yeah.
can't take it like how high you get.
yeah. So
No.
once I got my Puffco, I did get back into dabs. So I didn't have to do the whole rig thing. But lately,
How you like the Puffco?
Puffco is great.
It's
I
so
love Puffco.
convenient to use.
Yeah, a lot of people talk about that. I want to get Jolly Roger on the show, man. Puffco's dope, man, and I like the product. I've always enjoyed seeing the new different things that come out, and everybody that I know that's like a stoner that smokes has one. So
Yep.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Are there any other ways that you guys like to consume or anything like that, or is
I
it
was
just
just-
smoking?
I was just gonna say, like, I've recently been getting into like rosin vapes just because they've been on the market more. So like at HERBL, we have like Money Trees. They have this amazing rosin vape. The hardware is so great. Like it's a disposable, but it doesn't feel like a disposable. It's a really great experience. And then Ursa, we also have rosin vapes with Ursa.
Okay.
So I just tried that one and definitely hit the spot. First of all, I'm trying to actually like right now for 2023, I'm trying to reduce my
Intake?
flour, just for smoking. Like
Okay.
I'm trying to smoke less. Like I told you guys earlier on the show, like 15, 16 years, sis, you need a break. Like
But
cut it out.
But you're not smoking it with tobacco though, right?
No.
Okay, so that's at least a good thing.
Flour
right?
only, and I try to exercise, but
Yeah, you guys look like
I-
you're in good shape. Like you stay active.
I'm not trying to reduce, like, I'm not worried about like my THC intake. I'm just like trying to reduce the actual active smoking. So
The
I've been
smoking
doing
in the lungs.
beverages. So I've
Okay.
been doing Uncle Arnie's. So Uncle Arnie's is an amazing 100 milligram beverage. It's so good. Like it's the best experience too. It's a really great high.
Okay, check out
So,
Uncle Arnie's. I'm gonna have
yeah.
to check that out. What's the flavor to get?
The flavor I love is I think it's a peach iced tea.
Ooh.
Or the regular iced tea as well is really good.
I'm thinking about actually doing a beverage. My guy X, over at Sorona Labs, they actually formulate beverages. So I'm just waiting for the right time to actually get into that space because there's still a big distribution problem with beverages. You know what I'm saying?
It's a challenge. I mean, honestly, like beverages are going to become more popular, but it's definitely like when the pandemic hit, it slowed a lot of things down for projections in the industry as far as like a lot of people thought, microdosing was going to stick around for a lot longer, beverages, but then if you used to have $80 in your pocket and now you only have 40, you're not going to microdose.
No.
So a lot of that changed, a lot of the projections changed.
I'm looking for. I was at a party last night. My boy, Julian. I can't remember his name though. He got a Here he is right here. Oh, figures the video. Okay, can you see that? You ever seen that brand?
I think I have.
It's fire.
Oh, I met him before.
Yeah. That's, KT California Sodas. That's what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
KT California Sodas, man. Check them out.
I met him at an event before as
Yes,
well.
yes, that's the homie Julian. I was at a Cannabis Talk 101 event yesterday. Big shout out to Cannabis Talk 101, Blue and Joe Grande and Franchino and them. And so I've ran into him before at other events, and he has a drink, and it's perfect, man. It gives you the perfect buzz. It's not
really
too
good.
hard, but
Yeah.
not too soft neither. And it actually tastes good, and it's a black-owned business.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's like legacy. So check them out, KT California Sodas.
Yeah.
All right, and make sure you go follow them as well. All right, so man, we're looking really good. We've graduated from East Lansing. We've touched down in LA. We're living in Van Nuys. We're trying to figure out how to spread our wings. We spread our wings. We're learning. We're working as a bud tender. Now, how do we get to where we're at today? Is it bud tender then now HERBL, or is there still more in the middle?
Definitely there was more in the middle.
so much more.
We ended up getting into sales. So I worked for Bloom Farms, a vape company, like I was saying before. Jill's working for Pure Vape, another vape company.
Pure Vape and Cushy Punch. Yeah.
So we've always been like this dynamic duo, just kind of taking the industry by storm. I got my thing going on. She has her thing going on. So yeah, we started getting into sales. And then back in the day, sales used to be real crazy. Like I used to show up with like $10,000 worth of product, walk out $10,000 in my hand. Like
Yeah.
at least I have vapes. I think that's the one biggest thing that saved us and me as far as safety. But a lot of people was slinging like pounds, and that gets really dangerous.
I was essentially running my own business with Pure Vape at that time. I was repping the Inland Empire area, and me and my little Jeep would go to the warehouse for Pure Vape where they were cranking out orders for me. I would give them my orders. I would take my orders in boxes. I would pack them in my car. I would drive all the way out to the Inland Empire to my accounts, that I was cultivating business for. And I would make very sketch, deliveries of product and take, the cash and take my own cut and take it back to Pure Vape. And I was also doing my own, events as far as like being the brand ambassador for them as well too. So
that's crazy.
That's dope, man. So you was out in the IE,
all over.
like Adelanto area, or more like Ontario, Rancho Cucamonga?
More like Paris, Hemet.
Oh, out that way.
Yeah.
I used to have a house out in Menifee.
Okay, yep.
Yeah. In fact, me and Corvain.
Riverside too, up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was your whole region?
Mm-hmm. And LA too. I was in LA. I had accounts like in the Valley too, because obviously it was close to me geographically, but they hired me for the Inland Empire area.
So you were running sales?
Yeah, I remember. I got hired at Chiba Chews, so it was like the Chiba Chews headquarters was in Colorado at the time, and so the Los Angeles branch was kind of just like a own separate distribution. So it was just like that. I remember my training was in Temecula, and I remember my territory was everything south of downtown LA.
That's everywhere.
So I used to be in the hood with my gummies. It used to be so many Black-owned dispensaries and so many like people of color. Now you do not see that anymore.
Yeah,
it's
that's
crazy.
pre-ICO days. That's some old school days. Yeah, back the deli days. This is when it was the Wild Wild West, and this is a lot of people will argue and say that was some of the best era of California cannabis.
I cannot disagree with them, because we just learned so much during that time, and we were just so optimistic. We were like, we can't believe that we are actually working in cannabis right now. We're like touching this much cash. That was 16, what was I, 17, 18? Like
18.
That was
18.
a very like lucrative year for me.
Yeah, and it's just crazy, like how profitable, how things have changed so much. Like you can literally like grow all this weed. Like there's pros and cons to like the regulations, but you could grow all this weed at home or like in your store, in the back of your store, and then take it to the front, and it's basically all profit. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause you're like, there's some stuff that you're gonna buy off people. Like people have fire weed, but like if you have your own in-house grow, how much money you're making off that?
It's incredible. Yeah, I was telling you guys earlier, a part of a company called Grow XAI and Homegrown Pros, and we have these kits called the Mamba lines, and it's for home grow, and it basically teaches you everything that you need to know without being a pro. So it's basically grow like a pro without being a pro. And so it has tech involved in it, and think Uber for growers. So if you get on the app, it tells you what you're supposed to do at day 27 versus 36 all the way through, and it drop ships you all of the ingredients that you're going to need, and then you get on an app and you could talk to the growers and actually get into the nitty gritty of it. And so that's what we're doing. So home growing is a big thing, but like just to go off of what you said, if you're a retail that also has an in-house cultivation, you're killing the game. But then we fucked it all up with over compliance, extra regulation, putting shit in bags, no more deli style. So as much as it's better, it's also shittier.
Yeah.
Right? Would you not agree? Like, 2017, 2018 till now, like the difference. So as a sales ladies, what are some things that you see brands do really, really well versus things that brands don't do really, really well?
So many.
We were talking about like not really spending a lot of money on marketing. That's like a number one thing that I see, just because I've been working in marketing the last few years, and not knowing how to reach like their audience. And
I can piggyback off of that, where it's just like some of the things that I see brands do really well is just having a good flow of inventory. It's the worst thing when you finally get a placement in a store and things go really well and they sell out and they ask for a reorder and they can't reorder. And that it's just like stores just move on so quickly, especially in the LA area. So every like market is going to have like, you know, some markets only really like local growers, or some markets, because they're so far out, they'll take whatever they can get. But LA is not like that. They get everything. Everyone wants to be here. They get the most competition. If you don't have what they need, then they're moving on. And stores are only so big. Like, and if you really think about it, like there's so many, like, let's say a grocery store, for example. People are going into a grocery store to buy food, but everybody eats food. Everybody doesn't smoke cannabis. There's only going to be a certain amount of people in that area that live there that smoke cannabis. And people don't just wake up one day and decide, I'm going to smoke cannabis today. You know, people have kids, so grocery stores might get more people because people are having kids. You know, people moving around, so you might get a person that moves here that now they like to smoke, but everyone's fighting over the same dollar. So it's just, you really have to like, when you do get into a store, you really need to like be in touch with that store. Make sure that they're in stock. Make sure that you're not spreading yourself too thin. Make sure that that store is well educated. Their staff is well educated. They're just really invest into one store at a time. I think that's the best way to be successful in the Los Angeles area, because if first of all, it's already hard for someone to want to take a risk with you, and like, because most people have their menus. Like LA they don't need more brands. You have to give them a reason. Either the person who's selling your brand, they has a great personality, something about the convenience, your product's quality is just that good, or it's like a deal they can't pass up. And, you know, once they make that risk and put the brand on the shelf, like you really have to like make sure you keep that shelf space, because there's another brand. There's only so many types of cannabis products. There's only so many different types of weed you can make, you know, like it's more than just your product. And I think that's the main thing. Like you just have to make sure you're really hitting those marks.
I would agree with that. You know, with 40 tons, you know, we're obviously distributed through HERBL, and we learned a whole lot with, you know, that situation over this last year, and realized that like account reps are very, very important, and not just on the distribution side, but like on the actual brand side as well, because we are really great at marketing. We have a nationwide presence. We're massive all across the country, but at the local level, you need local marketing, and marketing also comes in the form of brand relationship from store to brand. And that was an area that we kind of lacked. And so we learned what, I guess, not to do moving forward.
I have something to add to that too.
Yeah, please do.
Something that's really, really important is staff education for these dispensaries on your brand. What is going to set your brand apart from other brands? What do the bud tenders need to know to sell your brand and to, you know, convert a customer? So, you know, we learned that was super important, just like in our background as brand ambassadors and working for outside brands, like liquor brands and, you know, like gaming and just like other things like that. That education is super important in cannabis though, because there's so many different products. There's so many, it's saturated. And the bud tenders are key. They're gatekeepers. You know, like we were talking about the gatekeeper word. They customers come in and they ask for a recommendation. That still happens. It was definitely like very prominent back before everything got recreational here, but it's still with new customers and new customer bases and people who are more like kind of curious, trying 100%. To like try things out. That recommendation from a trusted bud tender who's working there goes a long way.
Yes, it does.
And there's a lot that you can do on the back end to make brand ambassadors and bud tenders like incentivized.
We definitely need to talk more after the show, but I agree 100%. Bud tenders are very important. You know, when we went on tour, we did a little Northern California tour with some dispensaries. Spark was one of them, and we went to all the different Sparks, and big shout out Spark. They have a really great staff at all of them, and we went and we told the story and we talked about it and we showed the product and we physically interacted with them, and we saw a lot of really good success that way. So I agree with you on that level. Of getting that education out to the bud tenders. And I know it's all like cliche stuff, but like this is sales 101.
Yeah,
It
totally.
is.
Because we were talking about events earlier, and that's a major event. So when I used to work with Bloom Farms, one of the things that we really did to break into the market was we threw this thing called a bud tender bash. And that was back before like people were doing it. I know people do it now, but like having events that's specifically focused on a store's staff is a really great idea. So shout out Ball Family Farms. Ball Family Farms is an herbal brand that does that really well.
Yes.
They have them frequently.
I got an
and-
idea for Buff Family Farms I want to share with y'all.
Yeah, they do them pretty frequently, and it's a really great experience. It's super chill. You go in, you get education, you get samples. They have them so you can see familiar faces. If you can't make it this one, you can make it to the next one. So yeah, that's super key.
So speaking of that, shout out Charles and his brother with Ball Family. In fact, the cool thing about Ball Family Farms was that HERBL announced that we were with HERBL the same day that they did for
Okay.
Ball Family Farms, which was on May 20th of 2021, and May 20th is Cannabis Freedom Day. So 420 is regular Cannabis Day, but 520 is Cannabis Freedom Day.
Oh my gosh, I learn something new every day. I didn't even know about that.
Master
Yeah.
P did that.
Okay.
You know, so shout out Master P for Cannabis Freedom Day. So anyway, so you know how Ball Family Farms, they named their strains after movie characters,
Yeah.
right? Like Daniel LaRusso from Karate Kid.
Mm-hmm.
They did a collab with 64 and Hope, Clubber Lane.
Mm-hmm.
That's the dude. That's Mr. T from Rocky 3. That's his name in the movie, was called Clubber Lane. How about a Ball Family Farms 40-ton collab,
Uh-huh.
and we call it the Ray Gibson, which is Eddie Murphy in life,
Oh my god.
because Corvain Cooper had a life
Right.
sentence, and it's the life pack. I even drew it for them. What do you guys think of that?
Oh my god.
Like, this is just an
fire.
idea. This isn't, you know, so I'll
That's
I'll have you
fire. Wow.
come
Look
see
at
that.
that. He said I got the mock-ups.
I did. I drew the mock-ups. Here's another one, right? Because remember, that's Eddie Murphy,
Yeah.
right? So like 40 tons
Wow.
is it's
You're
the
a good
Clemen-
artist.
it's the Clemency pack,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Clemency pack.
And Ray Gibson is Eddie Murphy's character in the movie Life. 40 tons is about life sentences.
It
Corvette.
is.
Like, come on, man. I've been emailing you guys, man. Hit me back, man. I think it's a great collab. It would absolutely sell out. But that's my shameless plug for Ball Family Farms. But
I second that.
you know what I mean? But is that a dope idea?
Yeah.
It is.
And it's right. It's on brand.
It's already ready.
It's
for
ready
sure
to
on
go. We
brand.
just got to pick the weed and go. And
Right.
we're both distributed.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's a win right
It's
there.
definitely a no-brainer.
So, all right. So you guys, you know, we're getting towards the end of the show, but we'll close out the last part of it with, you know, what you guys have on the horizon. You know, what are you guys looking forward to in 2023? How can people find you? You know, let's talk about, you know, what you're doing for this year.
Yeah. So to kind of wrap up, like, you know, after we got into sales, you know, we just took a while to like think about like, you know, what I was mentioning before, like we really want to contribute, like what type of companies are we contributing to? We really wanted to like be more meaningful about like the places that we worked. So for the last few years, like I was been at HERBL. And so I started off at HERBL.
Shout out Luke over there.
Yeah, shout out Luke. Day one at
Beaudries.
HERBL. But yeah, so HERBL started in 2018. I started with HERBL in 2018.
Okay, one of their first
Um,
employees. That's
yes,
dope.
one of their first employees. I started out as a like a sales manager, like an account manager. I was promoted to I managed a team of 4. And then most recently promoted again to key account manager. So I've had a lot of success at HERBL. Really like grateful for the opportunity because HERBL's like one of the people who are like really trying to like set the precedent for what a cannabis company or a distribution company should look like in the recreational space. So they're trying to do it the right way. They are doing it the right way. And just really, really love the team over there, especially like the culture and the family vibe too. Like we really care about people. We really care about what we're doing. So like HERBL, the way that like it kind of started is like, you know, people came, like Mike Beaudry Sr., he put a team together with, you know, distribution background, corporate background.
Shout out Tom.
Yeah, brought Tom together.
That's my
brought
uncle, man. Uncle Tom, man. Lemoncello, man. That's an inside joke. That's the homie.
Brought a dream team together with a lot of like existing experience. And then with that, he also picked key people who had this cannabis experience like myself. And there's a lot of other people who have a lot of cannabis experience
Like
on
Neil?
our team, like Neil
Yeah.
And the combination of that knowledge, the knowledge of the distribution industry and the knowledge of the cannabis industry just came together and created this amazing company.
Heck yeah. And you guys got a good marketing team over there, Julia and Bree. And I think you guys are going to be bringing someone on new soon that in your marketing department as well. So I know that person as well. You guys are kind of an all encompassing team of professionals.
Absolutely. And I think that's what's going to come to me in 2023. Like, as I mentioned before, like, I can do this sales stuff in my sleep. I can do like brand ambassador work in my sleep. I'm ready to dabble back into my creative space.
Okay.
Ultimately, I do see myself being like, just bringing more of the marketing back into it for me. But right now I've been killing it with key accounts, just cranking out that revenue. It's been like a really tough year since these last 2 years since the pandemic.
It's tough on everybody, man, especially a big company like HERBL, and any of the big companies are dealing with what they're dealing with, but it's everybody. And,
yeah.
Sometimes big companies get the shit end of the stick.
For sure.
You know what I mean? That everyone thinks that they're just out for corporate greed, and if they really knew some of the owners of some of these bigger companies, they actually care. You know what I mean? And Beaudry's are one of them, so
For sure.
I definitely, can second what you're saying about HERBL. How about you? What's on your horizon for 2023?
Okay. For me, I'm definitely pivoting more into, so to give you some backstory, I was with a company called Pedal Fast.
Yep.
And we're like sales and marketing solutions for cannabis brands.
Cannabis tech?
Yes. Yeah. So pretty much like I was on the field team as a field marketing manager specialist, managing like brand ambassadors and accounts activating.
You're still over there
for brands? Nope, I'm not there anymore. So as of right now, I got promoted there into brand ambassador program manager, where I was like, managing all of the onboarding for the brand ambassadors in California, Massachusetts, Arizona. So we pretty much expanded very quickly. Pedal Fast was a startup. We started in like 2020. I got on in 2021. So I was just shy there of like 2 years. But now I'm pretty much just like taking all of my experience that I learned and kind of just, doing consulting for brands.
Freelancing,
exactly.
Ooh.
Trying to get the brands exposed in different places, like I was telling you, live events, different ways to get brand exposure, and
do you model too? Like, will you take photos and do things like that for brands and stuff like that?
I would totally do that. Some content creations. I was telling you,
I would love to have you on the
promotional background, the production background. I have my own equipment, so super into digital, creation, digital marketing as well as the live events. So I'm just kind of taking on, something new for 2022.
3.
Stuck in 2022.
We're all stoners here.
Yeah, 2023. Just taking a risk and like just pivoting into new things, and looking out for new opportunities.
Excellent. Well, you heard it here first on 40 Tons Talk. Miss Jill is looking for new opportunities. Definitely, she is for hire, but yesterday's price is not today's price. What you could get her for when she first came out here from East Lansing has quadrupled now. However, she'll work with you on your budget, you know what I'm saying? But definitely understand that she is very valuable to your brand, and so hopefully we could send some business your way.
Yes.
Also, Miss Christina, appreciate you. Thank you for helping us push the 40 Tons brand, as well as just everything that you just do for the industry and for HERBL and for everybody. Do you guys have your own website or social media or like LinkedIn? Like, how can people get a hold of you guys?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. Jill Gates is my name on there. That's my government. I'm on Instagram as well, where you can see like some of my photography, my passions, fashion, film, cannabis, stuff like that. It's at Just Jill Duh, DUHH on Instagram.
Duh.
Yeah.
And then I'm on LinkedIn as well. So Christina Goldston on LinkedIn, and on Instagram, I'm at Badass Chrissy. So hit that follow button.
Did you say?
Check me out.
Did you say Christina what?
Goldston.
Oh, No, she didn't say she's ghosting you. She's just saying it's ghost.
Christina Ghostin. No.
Yeah, but it ain't.
Ghostin.
But I have your email as
Gillespie.
Gillespie.
I am a newlywed, so
Oh,
that is my new
congratulations.
last name. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's now I have to change everything.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it's now Christina Ghostin. I might ghost you too, but that's only if you bugging me.
Yep. She's taken now, man. Your chance was over with.
Hilarious.
Okay, great. Well, that's awesome. Thank you guys or ladies, shall I say, for coming out. Before we get out of here, I have some gifts for you guys.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
so
do it.
I definitely
Love
want to
gifts.
give you guys each one of these.
I love it. I was hoping I got one of these.
Yeah.
I love these.
Yep. And then
Hemper.
I'm hoping I got your guys' right sizes. But that's for you.
Ooh.
Ooh.
So if you
What? I thought I was gonna get a T-shirt. This is a
sweatsuit.
sweatsuit.
And this is a crew neck sweater.
Wow.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, so
These are dope. This
yeah.
is what we're talking about when we talk about marketing and brands. This is what we're talking about right here. This is awesome.
Yeah.
You want to open it, show
Yeah.
it to the people? That's a one of one too. Like
And a custom. I
yeah.
love custom stuff.
you can't even buy this. I mean, I could make you one of these custom, but this is what it is. Like, you know what I mean? So I hope you like things like that. It's just a little loungewear
I
type
love
thing.
matching sets. So
You know, nice little
with the hood.
along with the hood with the 40 tons on the, you know, on there like that, you know.
Super lit. Thank
You
you so
know.
much.
Love
This is awesome.
Yes. So
And-
that's for you ladies. And so yeah, well, we appreciate
Can't wait
you.
to
And you guys are always welcome back to the podcast. Maybe next time we can get L'Oreal or Cobain to interview you. And if you have any events coming up or anything like that, please hit us, share it. We'll definitely post it for you. You can find us at all platforms 40 Tons Brand. So all social media is 40 Tons Brand. You could find the podcast everywhere podcasts are played. We are going to be on the Respect My Region channel of YouTube and on the Hayes TV network on your smart TVs, as well as the 40 Tons YouTube channel, and obviously all of our Instagram, TikToks, and the whole nine. I'm going to chop this up, cut it up, put out some really good content for us. But we really appreciate you ladies for coming on to the show. Big shout out to Detroit. You know the one thing about Detroit that I love that there's nowhere other place on the in the country that has?
What?
What's that?
Detroit has something that no other place in the country has. And you can't say Coney Island because that's also in New York.
Right.
But that's close.
Yeah.
But people say that. Cider mills.
Oh,
The apple cider and
yes.
donuts.
The
Get
orchard.
your apple cider and donuts up.
That is a very much like Detroit, Michigan, like
This
thing.
apple sauce
Yeah.
is from the apple orchard.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was.
The-
She
the
every
donuts.
year,
Troy,
in the fall.
Troy, up in Troy.
Yes, every year
Mhm.
in the fall, Jill's like, I want to go to a cider mill. I want to go to an apple orchard, and it's like I try to find one, and it's like so hard to find one here. They're
No,
like,
they don't have them,
Yeah.
and it's not the same.
It's
that-
not the
It's
same.
not that
No.
they do have them. I've been to one.
It's not the
But it's
same
not the
thing, though.
same.
Yeah, no.
It's not the
Detroit
same
is
at
a
all.
whole, or you know, Detroit and surrounding areas,
Mhm.
because Troy is its own city. They're known for that, and it's like
Yeah.
you can't find that anywhere else in the country. It's that, and then also too, you've been to the bomb chicken spot up the way called Frankenmuth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Get your chicken game up
Get your chicken.
up in front. Is it bomb though? That's some bomb fried
That's
chicken.
definitely like childhood memories.
So look, this is a place that you would go in California. I would equate it to something like Casa de Fruta off the 152, which is in the middle of nowhere. And it's basically this place that is like all of the Christmas ornaments,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this huge store of like Christmas tchotchke
Mhm.
stuff with a restaurant and a hotel.
Yeah, it's
and
the
like a
whole
creek,
experience.
And
yeah.
like, yeah, and it's like a place that you go that's like 2-3 hours out of
Definitely
Detroit.
bring your kids,
Bring your
bring your
kids.
family, bring the whole family.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a family
Yes,
thing. It's a family
it's like
vibe.
Knott's Berry, kind of like.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, it's something like that, and it's called Frankenmuth, and they got bomb chicken and gravy. So, yeah, I've
Good food,
traveled
good eats.
a lot of
see.
places. So, but anyway, we appreciate you. This is Tons Talk, episode 4 with the lovely ladies of Detroit, Miss Jill, Miss Christina, and we are out of here. Thank you, Purple Banter. Thank you, Respect My Region. Thank you, HERBL. Thank you, Sunset Connect. Thank you, Hemper. Thank you, Good Day Farms. Thank you, Owls Oil. Thank you, HPI Farms in New York. Thank you, Remedy in Maryland. And these are all the people that, we're partnered with. So thank you so much. Big shout out Corvain Cooper for doing that life sentence. And allowing us to even have a brand that we have today. Thank you, L'Oreal, for holding us down when all of us were locked up over the plant. And thank you to all of the people that have been supporters. We are Tons Talk, 40 tons. Just remember, just because someone carries it well doesn't mean it's not heavy. Peace and love.
One nigga Corvain said he living life after life. For all the homies on the bunks that was talking night after night.